What up, guys? Just a quick note here. Just wanted to say thanks so much for all the love and the support. I love seeing all those chrome delete tail lights, all the LED strips that are out there. You guys keep me driven to the next thing. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. First things first, we're gonna remove that side badge from the fender. It's only held on by double-sided tape. You don't need to remove the fender liner to access it or anything like that. Just a couple clips and double-sided tape and it pops right out. So what I'm doing here, I'm removing the centerpiece of the badge from the outer trim piece. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this. You guys don't have to do this, but this is something that I kind of wanted to do since I already had it out. Might as well take advantage of disassembling everything. And as far as the emblems here, we're gonna drill them out with a 3/16 drill bit. They're riveted on or plastic welded, whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't take much force for them to pop out. So I didn't record the Cummins badge. It's the same exact thing as this turbo diesel logo. It's just 3 of those plastic tabs that you have to drill out, so and it pops right out super easy. All right, so we have a Dremel, a variety of Dremel bits, some needle files with all shapes and sizes. This is what we're going to be using to Dremel out the Cummins font out of the badge. Just take your time with this, don't overcut. I highly suggest practicing on something else before you get started on these badges. I ordered an extra set of badges just in case I screwed up, but just take your time on it. You know, you don't want to overcut. So if you need a cut and you feel like the Dremel's not going to be able to do that extra cutting, just use the needle file and just be patient with it. So if you guys plan on painting your guys' badge, I highly recommend that you guys primer it before painting. It's going to hide a lot of the imperfections in between the lettering, and or if you may scratch the surface of the Cummins badge, the primer is going to bury a lot of that. So Duplicolor offers color matching paint, a QAB, which is a pearl white, and I'm going to go ahead and obviously match it to the truck. It took about 5 layers of paint before it kind of matched the truck itself. So and I added a little bit of a clear coat. I added like two layers of clear coat just to kind of give it an additional shine. As far as the turbo diesel goes, I'm just going to paint it white. I'll figure out what I'm going to do with that later down the road. I'm just going to keep it simple for now. The outer bezel here, I'm going to go ahead and primer it, and I'm going to add some Rust-Oleum bed liner spray. I figured with the pearl white and a little bit of texture on the outside bezel, it'd give it good contrast. Onto the plexiglass. This is a 1/8 inch thick plexiglass. I'm going to be using the Cummins badge here as a template to kind of cut out the plexiglass. I went through a lot of trial and error with this. It didn't work in my favor to use a Dremel, so I had to use another resource my good buddy offered, you know, to cut them out for me using a table saw and a table router, and he just dialed them in. If you guys need some templates made, you can reach out at him on Instagram and you know, just get in contact with him and you guys can work from there. So he did me the favor of doing this, and I was super stoked how it came out. Here we're going to be sanding down the plexiglass using a 360 grit sandpaper. This is just going to help trap in a lot of that light and give it more of a glow once you sand it down on both sides and all the edges. So on the back side of the plexiglass, you're going to drill out, these are all 3/16 holes. So you got one on the top, one on the bottom, and the rest here are going to be for the LEDs. The 2 far left holes are going to be where the badge is going to mount into the plexiglass. We're going to use some glue. And once you have the plexiglass already drilled out, you're going to use that as a template to drill the holes into the badge housing. That's where the LEDs are going to be inserted through the back side. As far as lighting goes, we're going to be using the 5mm LEDs. They come in a variety of colors. These are 12-volt LEDs, and you can get them on Amazon or eBay. And these are going to pop in on the back side of the emblem. So at this point, you can start mocking up the plexiglass with the emblem over it. You know, use a 9-volt or a 12-volt battery just to kind of make sure that the lights are working, it's illuminating the way you want it to before the gluing process. Now we're going to be gluing the plexiglass onto the emblem. Don't use a white glue like I did, and don't use too much of it just because it started puking out of the edges once it was installed. And cleaning was kind of a pain in the ass, so use a clear glue and not so much of it, I guess you can say, because it will ooze out of the edges. Just doing a quick check before I install the Cummins badge. So the 2 far holes on the right, that's where the guide pins are going to go for the emblem. I'm using industrial strength like Gorilla Glue, a clear one this time. So once you have the C on there, just make sure your paint's dry if you did paint it, because the first time I did it, the paint wasn't fully dry and I left fingerprints all over it. So just a quick tip. And I almost forgot to mention, use some waterproof silicone on the backside of those LEDs just to minimize whatever moisture or water can get potentially in there. And added my own 18 gauge wire, and this is going to be feeding through the fender hole here, and then I'm going to be working it towards the front into my running light. So at this point, I pulled out the running light from the headlight, and I'm just going to tap into power and ground and just kind of clean up the wiring, and it's a done deal. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just reach out at me at JetWhiteXD.